Despite car makers spending an increasing amount of time trying to invent and justify new niches, superminis are thriving and they're packed with more character and quality than ever. Fiesta is light and flighty Ford all the way through. Polo, pure stoic Volkswagen. So, what have Citroen come up with to represent themselves?
They've produced this, the brand new C3. It's a smart looking car, but that's not enough. To take on the Fiesta and Polo big boys, it needs to do two things. First, be really, really good, and second, have a character all of its own.
And it gets off to a head start. How's this for character? Half a roof, or 1.5 windscreens. Depends on how you look at it, really.
Citroen call it the Zenith windscreen, and it's standard on all but the bottom spec model. It gives you an extra 80 degrees of upward vision, which apparently significantly increases well-being.
And I am feeling pretty well in here. I was a bit worried that all the extra glass would just show off the winter gloom and any bird poo, but even on a grey day like this, it just makes the C3 feel like a cheerful little box. And if you don't want to feel cheerful, shut off the world and make it dark again. And the interior is a massive improvement over the old C3. There's nothing cheap or scratchy. It's just smart and simple and really, really quiet for a supermini. Possibly the quietest one I've ever driven. The only little quibble is an overuse of really shiny plastic around the dials. It's not cheap or nasty. It's a bit chintzy for my taste, but I'll put that down to character.
Taste aside, the quality of materials and massive window have gifted the C3 with just as much personality as its rivals. The interior might not be as funky as a Fiesta or as precisely damped as a Polo, but it feels different, not inferior.
So, it has got the character, but is it really, really good?
This particular C3 is the 118 brake horsepower 1.6 litre VTI petrol. It won't be the best seller, but it is the most powerful, with a 0 to 62 time of just 8.9 seconds, a full second quicker than the equally powerful Fiesta Zetec S.
But that's not the only impressive stat, because the engine is also from a Mini Cooper. So it must be really, really good. Except it's not. It'll pick up speed readily enough. If you really want to get a jiggle on, you've got to rev it, then it gets a bit raucous, and then it kind of ruins the relaxed, cheerful nature of the car.
And the engine's not the only thing that prefers to take it easy.
The steering's quite light and not overly accurate, but perhaps the biggest problem for me is it's got a real elastic ping back of self-centering. It's quite aggressive. Ride-wise, it's clearly been set up for comfort, which is basically fine, and it wafts along without any problems most of the time. Only trouble is when you come across a bigger bump, it can start to feel a bit ungainly and a bit baggy. So it doesn't quite have the sophistication of a Polo, and it certainly doesn't have the agility of a Fiesta.
In reality, the two diesel engines with either 90 or 110 brake horsepower will better suit the car's relaxed character, as well as doing 60 miles to the gallon and emitting such paltry levels of CO2 that they only cost 35 quid a year to tax.
Which brings us on to money, and a little bit of a shock, because while the C3 is priced to match a Fiesta, which means about 13 grand for a mid-range engine, some aircon and some alloys, what that actually means is that spec for spec, the Citroen is more expensive than a Volkswagen Polo.
Luckily, it's got more than just a ginormous window to attract buyers, as it's also packed with space. For your legs,
I like that.
for your head, and for your shopping, with a boot that's slightly bigger than the Polo or Fiestas. So, is it worth buying?
It's like a conservatory. Spacious, airy, easy to relax in, but not that dynamic to drive. So, without wanting to sound like a double glazing salesman, whether or not you should buy one really does depend on how much you want all of that extra glass. Because while it hasn't got the road manners, the spaciously airy interior and all that sky give it the character to justify its price tag.